Hey, thanks for joining me again. I am glad that you are here. I am going to give you some information today about property taxes. Welcome back. I am Jenny Hendricks at Century 21 Prestige Realty. And today I want to kind of take you through what's happening with property tax assessments and property tax collection right now in Iron County. So in Utah, of course, the way property taxes work is they are assessed once a year and they are assessed in arrears. The property taxes are due in November, but starting right now in August, you are going to be receiving this. This is a notice of property valuation and tax changes. So you're going to receive this that gives you all the information on the value of your property according to the county assessor and the tax that you are being assessed, and all of the information about your property, which is pretty interesting. If there's any information that you feel is not correct on here, you have until September, the end of September, to protest. And there's a schedule for that at the county. But what I want to do today is kind of take you through what your property tax notice of property valuation and tax changes looks like, and maybe point out a few things for you to be aware of. Okay, so first of all, this is going to come from Dan Jessen, who is our county auditor. Good guy, he's on our side. Next, you're going to see the mailing address here, and then over here you've got the legal description and then the address of the property. Okay, so just kind of double check and make sure all of that information is correct. Now, here's one thing that is really important to check. Right here under property type. So check to see if this is a primary or a non-primary property. The reason that's important is if it is a primary residence, you will get a 45% discount on your property taxes. And this is if it's your primary residence or if it is someone's primary residence. So if you've got a full-time renter in there and that you can show a long-term contract, then that renter is using it as a primary residence and you are able to take advantage of that discount. So if it is a second home or if you are using it as a short-term rental, you're not going to get that primary residence discount. When you purchase property, you're going to get a survey that will ask you if it is a primary residence. Sometimes people feel a little hesitant about sending a survey, back to the state, the government. That information goes to the county assessor, so they'll know whether to assess you as a primary residence or a non-primary, and it makes a big difference in your taxes. So that's the first thing to look at, is how it's being assessed. Is it a primary residence or a non-primary residence? And you can see how big of a difference that is. So on this particular property, the 2021 market value is $164,974. Okay, and the 2021 taxable value is $90,735. So that's a 45% discount because this is a primary residence. So check that, and if it should be a primary residence and it's being assessed as a non-primary, then make sure you get with the assessor and let me know if I can help you with that. The next thing you want to look at is the total property value. Okay, this is the amount that you are going to be assessed for. So your total property value is what the county assessor says that the value of your property is, not market value. I have people a lot of times ask me, well, what's the difference between the assessed value and the market value? They're two completely separate things, okay? And it's a completely different process to come up with the value for if you were going to put your property on the market or what you're being assessed for, okay? So check that total property value. That's going to be right here. And if you feel like that property value is too high, you can protest that value. Now you can't just go in and say, hey, I think I'm being charged too much in property taxes. You have to have a really valid reason to protest that property valuation. And that is something that an agent, a realtor, can help you with. I can pull comps for you if you feel like your value is too high, and you can take those comps into the assessor during that period of time in September and protest that value. So let me know if you need comps and I will help you with that. Okay, the next thing you need to look at is the taxing entities. This is really, really interesting. So right now on this particular property, and different properties, depending on where they're located, are going to be taxed by different entities. So if you're in Cedar City, you're going to receive Cedar City taxes. If you're in the county, you're not going to receive Cedar City taxing entities, and so forth. Okay, this particular property is being assessed for a county basic school levy, Cedar City, state basic school levy, the county general fund, the Water Conservancy, Iron County A and C. And I had to call the auditor's office, and they were very kind, and because I didn't know what that was. But what Iron County A and C is assessing and collecting. So we are being taxed on our property taxes for the cost of collecting property taxes on our property. The irony. The next one is County Public Help, County Library, Charter Basic School, and then a multi-county A and C. So a multi-county assessing and collecting charge. The biggest one is the County Basic School levy. So on this particular property, that's $371.16. And then Cedar City is assessing $208. State Basic School levy is $142. And then everything else just kind of gets increasingly smaller as you go down that line. Also, what you want to kind of take note of is it's going to say right here what you were taxed at in 2020, and then what you will be taxed in 2021 if there is no increase, and then 2021 if proposed budget is approved, and then if there is a 2021 increase. Now, on this particular property, there is not going to be a 2021 increase. In fact, on this property, the property taxes are going down from 2020, which is kind of cool. Take a look at that, and you kind of compare where the property assessment and the tax rate was from last year to this year. And then the other thing that is interesting to note on this notice of property valuation and tax changes is right here. What that says is the last time this property was reviewed. Now, the assessor will review 20% of the county each year. So they kind of are on a rolling schedule. So every 5 years, 100% of the county has been reviewed. So this particular property, the last review was in 2020, so last year. I have seen other property valuation and tax change notices where the last time the property was reviewed was in 2017 or 2019. So that just tells you the last time the assessor came out and actually kind of looked at the property, compared it with other similar properties to come up with that value. And that's one of the reasons that the assessed value, the assessor's market value, really doesn't have anything to do with a current market value. So if you are looking at your assessed value, your 2021 market value on here, and you think, wow, that's really off, and you want to know what your actual current market value is, just give me a call and I can run some comps for you very easily and very quickly. Thank you for spending time with me again today. I hope that is information that you can use on your notice of property valuation and tax changes. I am Jenny Hendricks at Century 21 Prestige Realty. Let me know if I can be a resource for you. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.